The drilling machine broke through the ice and hit something hard. The worker named stopped the machine and looked at his screen. The sensors showed metal beneath the ice. Not rocks, not frozen water, metal. Had worked in the mines of Nine for 20 years. He had found many strange things buried in the ice of this frozen moon. Old asteroids, dead satellites from forgotten civilizations. Once, he found the remains of an ancient probe that no one could identify. But he had never found anything like this. He called his supervisor. His supervisor called the company headquarters. The company called the Galactic Council. Within 6 hours, ships from 12 different species arrived at the small moon. Scientists, soldiers, and politicians all wanted to see what the miners had discovered. They melted the ice slowly and carefully. It took 3 days to reveal what lay beneath. When they finally saw it, no one spoke for a long time. It was a ship, a massive ship, nearly 4 kilometers long and over a kilometer wide. The hull was dark gray, by ancient damage but still solid. Strange symbols covered the surface, letters and numbers in a language that no living species recognized. The scientist, a being of living stone named, scanned the vessel with his equipment. His rocky face showed something that might have been confusion. "The ship is approximately 600 years old," he announced to the gathered officials. "The technology appears to be based on chemical propulsion and nuclear fusion, primitive by our standards." "Then why does it trouble you?" asked the diplomat, her silver eyes watching carefully. Pointed at the ship's hull. "Look at the armor. It is 3 meters thick in most places, 5 meters near the critical systems. No species builds ships with such heavy protection. It would be inefficient, wasteful." "Perhaps they were poor engineers," suggested an official. "No," replied. "Look at the weapons. I count over 200 gun emplacements, missile tubes, point defense systems, launch bays for smaller craft." He paused. "This ship was not built for exploration or trade. This ship was built by a species that expected to fight, a species that expected to be hurt, a species that planned to survive that hurt and keep fighting." The gathered aliens looked at the ancient vessel with new eyes. Some felt curiosity, others felt fear, a few felt both. Deep inside the ship, something stirred. The emergency systems had detected movement outside. Automated protocols, dormant for 6 centuries, began their work. Power flowed through ancient circuits. Computers awakened from their long sleep. In the medical bay, lights flickered on above rows of cryogenic pods. The revival sequence began. Commander Lisa Grant felt cold. Then she felt pain. Then she felt confusion. Her eyes opened to bright lights and white ceiling panels. Alarms beeped somewhere nearby. Her body ached like she had been sleeping in a bad position for a very long time. She had been sleeping for 600 years. Lisa tried to sit up, but her muscles refused to cooperate. She had trained for, she knew the revival process took time, but something felt wrong. The alarms were not normal revival alarms. They were emergency signals. A face appeared above her. Lieutenant Commander Daniel Perry, the ship's tactical officer. His skin was pale and his hands shook, but his eyes were alert. "Commander," he said, "we have a situation." "Report," Lisa managed to say. Her voice sounded like broken glass. "Navigation failed. We went off course, way off course." Daniel helped her sit up slowly. "The ship's computer put us in emergency and found the nearest safe landing site. That was 600 years ago." Lisa processed this information. 600 years. Everyone she knew on Earth was dead. Her family, her friends. The world she left behind had continued without her for 6 centuries. "Where are we?" she asked. "Unknown moon, unknown system, unknown region of space." Daniel paused. "And Commander, there's something else." He helped her stand and walk to the observation window. What Lisa saw made her forget the pain in her body and the confusion in her mind. Aliens, dozens of them. beings of stone and light and chitin and form she could not describe. They stood outside the ship, staring at the hull with equipment in their hands. Some wore what looked like uniforms. Others wore what might have been scientific gear. "We're not alone in the universe," Lisa whispered. "No, ma'am," Daniel agreed, "and they found us before we found them." Over the next several hours, more crew members awakened. Chief Engineer Maria Santos immediately began checking the ship systems. Doctor set up a medical station to help the revival process. Security, Chief Cole organized teams to patrol the corridors and ensure the aliens did not enter the vessel. Lisa watched the aliens through the observation windows. They seemed cautious, curious. Some of them looked afraid. She wondered what they saw when they looked at the USS Defiance, an ancient relic, a threat, a mystery. She needed information. She needed to understand where she was and who these beings were. Most importantly, she needed to keep her crew safe. The ship's communication systems were damaged but functional. Maria managed to boost the signal enough to reach the alien vessels in orbit. Lisa prepared herself for the most important conversation in human history. The first voice that came through was translated by computer algorithms, pieced together from intercepted alien communications. It sounded strange, artificial, but understandable. "Unknown vessel, unknown species, identify yourself." Lisa took a deep breath. "This is Commander Lisa Grant of the USS Defiance. We are humans from the planet Earth. We come in peace." There was silence on the other end. It lasted a long time. "Humans," the voice finally said. The single word carried weight that Lisa did not understand. "We believed your kind was extinct." Lisa looked at Daniel. Daniel looked back at her with equal confusion. "I assure you we are very much alive," Lisa replied. "There are 3,000 of us aboard this vessel. We were traveling to a new colony world when our navigation systems failed. We have been in for 600 years. More silence. Lisa could hear other voices in the background, speaking in languages her computer could not translate. They sounded alarmed. "You will remain in your vessel," the voice commanded. "Representatives of the Galactic Council will arrive to determine how to proceed. Do not attempt to leave. Do not attempt to contact anyone else. Do not activate your weapons." The transmission ended. Lisa stood in the command center of her wounded ship, surrounded by crew members who had just lost everything they ever knew. Outside, alien species watched them with fear in their eyes. She did not know why these beings believed humanity was extinct. She did not know what had happened to Earth in the centuries she slept. She did not know what the Galactic Council wanted or what they would decide. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. She would protect her crew. Whatever this galaxy held, whatever challenges they would face, she would find a way to keep her people alive. The USS Defiance had survived 600 years buried in ice. Its commander intended to ensure it survived whatever came next. The alien delegation arrived 3 days after the first transmission. Commander Lisa Grant watched them approach through the main airlock, her heart beating fast but her face calm. She had chosen her team carefully. Daniel Perry stood at her right side, ready to assess any threat. Maria Santos stood at her left, recording everything with a small device hidden in her uniform. Doctor waited behind them, ready to provide medical assistance if needed. The aliens came in groups of 2 and 3. Lisa counted 7 different species among them. They were the easiest to identify, their bodies made of what looked like living rock, slow-moving but powerful. They were graceful beings with silver skin and large eyes that seemed to see everything. They resembled insects, tall and thin with multiple arms and clicking mandibles. The others were harder to describe. One species floated above the ground, their bodies made of swirling light. Another looked almost human but with blue skin and no visible nose. The last 2 were so strange that Lisa could not find words to explain them. Leading the group was an elderly female. She moved with careful dignity, her silver eyes fixed on Lisa with an expression that mixed curiosity and caution. "I am High Counselor," she said. The translation device made her voice sound flat, but Lisa could still hear the authority in her words. "I speak for the Galactic Council. You are Commander Grant." "I am," Lisa confirmed. "Welcome aboard the Defiance." Looked around the corridor. Her eyes lingered on the thick walls, the heavy doors, the visible damage from centuries of dormancy. "Your ship is unlike anything we have seen. Our engineers wish to study it." "Perhaps in time," Lisa said carefully. "First, I need to understand our situation. Your transmission said you believed humanity was extinct. What happened to our people?" The aliens exchanged glances. Some of them looked uncomfortable. Others showed emotions Lisa could not read on their unfamiliar faces. "Walk with me," said. "There is much to discuss." They walked through the corridors of the Defiance. The alien delegation moved slowly, examining everything with obvious interest. Lisa noticed how they reacted to the ship's design. The thick armor made them nervous. The numerous weapon emplacements made them afraid. Even the simple emergency axes stored along the walls seemed to disturb them. Spoke as they walked. Her voice was soft, but her words were heavy. 612 years ago, a human exploration ship made contact with a mining vessel. The meeting went badly. Both sides claimed the other attacked first. The truth no longer matters. What matters is what followed. She paused at a window that looked out at the frozen landscape of Nine. The alien ships hung in the sky above, watching. The war lasted 40 years. Humanity fought with a ferocity that shocked every species in the galaxy. Your ships were crude but numerous. Your weapons were primitive but deadly. Your soldiers, she turned to look at Lisa directly. Your soldiers did not surrender, ever. They fought until they could not fight anymore. They destroyed themselves rather than be captured. They sacrificed their own lives to damage our forces. Lisa felt cold that had nothing to do with the temperature. How many died? We do not have exact numbers. Hundreds of millions, certainly, perhaps billions. Entire worlds were rendered uninhabitable. Silver eyes showed something that might have been sorrow. When the war finally ended, humanity retreated to your home system. You built defenses. You sent warnings to stay away. And then, within one generation, your signals stopped. What do you mean, stopped? We sent expeditions to investigate. They found nothing. No humans, no ships, no explanation. Your space stations were empty. Your colonies were abandoned. Your planet Earth showed no signs of intelligent life. Spread her thin hands in a gesture of confusion. Your entire species simply vanished. We never learned why. Lisa felt her knees weaken. She leaned against the corridor wall and tried to breathe. Her planet, her species, gone, all of it gone. Daniel stepped closer to her, his hand on her shoulder. "Commander." "I'm fine," she lied. "Continue, Counselor." Nodded slowly. In the centuries since, humanity became a memory, a warning. Parents tell their children stories of the terrible humans who nearly destroyed the galaxy before destroying themselves. Your species represents everything we fear: violence without purpose, war without end, destruction for its own sake. "That's not who we are," Lisa said. Her voice was stronger now, pushed by anger. "We were explorers, colonists. We left Earth to find new homes, to spread our species across the stars. We didn't want war." "Perhaps you did not. Perhaps the humans aboard this ship never wished for conflict," gestured at the walls around them. "But look at your vessel, Commander. Look at how it was built. Your people prepared for war even when seeking peace. Violence is in your nature. It cannot be separated from who you are." Lisa wanted to argue. She wanted to explain that the Defiance was built strong because space was dangerous, that the weapons were for defense, that humanity was more than just fighters and warriors. But she looked at her ship through alien eyes and understood what they saw: the thick armor, the heavy weapons, the redundant systems designed to keep fighting even after catastrophic damage. The Defiance was a warship disguised as a colony vessel. It was built by a species that expected the universe to try to kill them. Maybe the aliens were right. Maybe violence was part of human nature, but Lisa knew there was more to her people than that. "What happens now?" she asked. "The council will debate your fate," said. "Some will demand your destruction. Others will argue for imprisonment. A few may suggest allowing you to leave, though where you would go remains unclear." "And what do you suggest, counselor?" Was quiet for a long moment. Her silver eyes studied Lisa with an intensity that felt like being examined under a microscope. "I suggest that you prove your critics wrong," she finally said. "I suggest that you show the galaxy that humanity can be more than warriors and destroyers. I suggest that you give us a reason to believe you deserve to survive." She turned and walked toward the airlock, her delegation following behind. At the door, she paused and looked back. "The Council will meet on Harmony Prime in 10 solar cycles. You will be summoned to speak for your people. I advise you to prepare well, Commander Grant. The future of your species depends on what you say." The aliens departed. Lisa stood in the corridor of her ancient ship, surrounded by her crew, and felt the weight of 3,000 lives pressing down on her shoulders. She had 10 days to save humanity. In her quarters that night, Lisa could not sleep. She stared at the ceiling and thought about everything she had lost. Her parents were dead. Her sister was dead. Her friends, her neighbors, everyone she had ever known was gone. Earth itself was gone, empty and silent. She was alone in a galaxy that feared her kind. 3,000 humans against countless alien species who remembered humanity only as monsters from their history books. But Lisa Grant had not become a starship commander by giving up when things seemed impossible. She had fought her way through the ranks. She had proven herself in 100 difficult situations. She had earned her place on the Defiance through hard work and determination. The galaxy thought humans were nothing but violent savages. Lisa intended to prove them wrong. She would speak to the Council. She would show them who humanity really was. And if words were not enough, if the aliens decided that 3,000 sleeping survivors were too dangerous to live, then Lisa would find another way. Because that was what humans did. They survived, they adapted, they never gave up. The galaxy was about to remember why humanity had been so hard to defeat. The transport ship that carried Commander Lisa Grant to Harmony Prime was fast and comfortable. The crew treated her with cold politeness, never rude but never friendly. They watched her constantly, as if expecting her to attack at any moment. Lisa spent the journey reviewing what little information the aliens had provided about the Galactic Council. 23 species held seats on the Council. Each had a vote in major decisions. The currently led the Assembly because of their reputation for fairness and wisdom. The Council made laws, settled disputes, and maintained peace across thousands of worlds. Peace. That word appeared again and again in the documents. The galaxy valued peace above almost everything else. War was considered barbaric, primitive, something that civilized species had left behind long ago. The great conflict with humanity was seen as an embarrassing failure, a moment when the enlightened races of the galaxy had been dragged down to the level of savage animals. Lisa understood now why the aliens feared her. To them, humans represented a return to darkness, a reminder that violence still existed in the universe, waiting to emerge. Harmony Prime was beautiful. The station hung in space like a crystal flower, its transparent domes filled with gardens and water features and open spaces designed to make every species feel welcome. Ships from dozens of worlds docked at its ports. Beings of every shape and size walked its corridors in peace. Lisa was escorted by armed guards to the council chamber. She noticed how other aliens moved away from her as she passed. Children were pulled behind their parents. Conversations stopped. Eyes followed her with fear and hatred and curiosity mixed together. The council chamber was enormous. Seats rose in circles around a central platform, filled with representatives from every member species. Thousands of aliens watched as Lisa walked to the speaking position. The weight of their attention pressed against her like a physical force. High Counselor sat in the highest seat, her silver skin catching the light. She raised one hand for silence. "Commander Lisa Grant of the human vessel Defiance," she announced. "You have been summoned to address this council regarding the fate of your crew and your species. Speak now." Lisa had prepared a speech. She had written and rewritten it during the journey, trying to find the perfect words. But standing before this assembly of alien minds, looking into eyes that saw her as a monster, she set aside her prepared remarks. "I am going to tell you about my grandmother," she began. The chamber stirred with confusion. This was not what they expected. Her name was Grant. She was a teacher. Every day she stood before children and taught them about history, mathematics, science, and art. She believed that education was the greatest gift anyone could give. She spent her entire life helping young people learn and grow. Lisa paused and looked around the chamber. "My grandmother never hurt anyone. She never fought in any war. She spent her days surrounded by books and chalk and the laughter of children. When I left Earth on the Defiance, she cried and told me she was proud of me." She took a breath. "Grant is dead now. She has been dead for 600 years. I will never see her again. I will never hear her voice or feel her hugs or taste her terrible cooking. She is gone, along with everyone else I ever loved." The chamber was silent. Lisa continued. "You see humans as monsters. You remember a war that happened before anyone in this room was born. You teach your children to fear us because of things our ancestors did. But those ancestors are dead. The soldiers who fought your grandparents are dust. The leaders who ordered attacks are forgotten names in history books." Lisa pointed at herself. "I am a colonist. The people sleeping on my ship are scientists and engineers and farmers and doctors. We left Earth to build new lives on distant worlds. We have never fought anyone. We have never killed anyone. We are guilty of nothing except being born human." A representative rose from his seat. His stone body scraped against the floor as he moved. "Your innocence is irrelevant," he rumbled. "Your ship is a weapon. Your species is a weapon. The danger you represent does not require intent." "Then judge us by our actions, not our nature," Lisa replied. "Give us a chance to prove who we are." "And if you prove to be exactly what we fear," asked the delegate, "if you bring war to our peaceful galaxy once more?" Lisa met the alien's multiple eyes without flinching. "Then you will have 3,000 humans to deal with instead of billions. We are weak and alone and centuries behind your technology. If you are afraid of us now, imagine how powerful you must be. Surely the great Galactic Council can handle a single shipload of primitive mammals." Laughter rippled through the chamber. It was not friendly laughter, but it broke some of the tension. High Counselor raised her hand again. "We have received another perspective on this matter. The Dominion has requested to address the Council." Lisa felt Daniel's briefing echo in her mind. There were a militant species that had challenged the Council's authority for generations. They controlled a significant empire on the edge of Council space. They were not trusted. A representative approached the speaking platform. He was tall and covered in dark scales, with eyes that gleamed like polished metal. His uniform was decorated with symbols that Lisa assumed represented military rank. "I am War Commander of the Dominion," he announced. "I speak with the authority of Warlord himself." He turned to face Lisa directly. His reptilian face showed what might have been a smile. "The humans are dangerous. Everyone agrees on this point. The question is what to do with them." He spread his clawed hands. "The Council suggests destruction or imprisonment. These are wasteful solutions. The Dominion proposes an alternative." He turned back to the assembly. "Give the humans to us. We will provide them with a world within our territory. We will watch over them. We will ensure they cannot threaten the peaceful species of the galaxy." His smile widened. In return, we will study their technology and their tactics. We will learn from their history. The galaxy will be safer for it. Lisa understood immediately. They did not want to protect the galaxy from humans. They wanted human knowledge. They wanted to learn how to build ships like the Defiance. They wanted to add human ferocity to their own military strength. I respectfully decline, Lisa said. Her voice was hard. Turned to her with surprise. You do not speak for the Council, human. I speak for my people, and my people will not be handed over to anyone like property. She looked at the assembled representatives. We may be primitive, we may be few, but we are not slaves to be given away by others. The chamber erupted in arguments. Species shouted at each other in a dozen languages. High Counselor called for order repeatedly before the noise finally died down. The Council will deliberate in private, she announced. Commander Grant, you will be escorted to quarters where you will await our decision. This session is concluded. Lisa was led away by guards. As she walked through the corridors of Harmony Prime, she passed a window that looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, her ship waited with 3,000 sleeping humans. She had done everything she could. She had spoken from her heart. Now she could only wait and hope. But deep inside, she began to prepare for the possibility that hope would not be enough. If the Council decided to destroy the Defiance or hand them over to the, Lisa would need another plan. Humans did not surrender. Humans survived. Whatever came next, Lisa Grant intended to ensure that humanity survived this too. Warlord stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the reports from Harmony Prime. The Council was still debating. Some wanted to destroy the humans. Some wanted to imprison them. A few even suggested giving them freedom and a new world. None of them would give the humans to the Dominion. Had expected this. The Council feared the Dominion almost as much as they feared the ancient memories of humanity. They would never willingly strengthen military power. The offer had been a formality, a political game to make the Dominion appear reasonable. Now it was time for a different approach. Set course for 9, ordered, maximum speed. His officers obeyed without question. The flagship hummed with power as its engines engaged. Behind it, 11 more capital ships followed, along with dozens of support vessels. It was the largest fleet the Dominion had deployed in decades. On the surface of 9, Lieutenant Commander Daniel Perry watched his sensor screens with growing concern. The mining operations had stopped days ago. The scientific teams had departed. Only a few Council observers remained, keeping watch on the Defiance from a safe distance. But now new contacts were appearing on the long-range sensors. Many contacts, moving fast. Maria, Daniel called to the engineering station. How quickly can we get the main reactors to full power? Chief Engineer Maria Santos looked up from her work. She had not slept properly in days. Dark circles hung under her eyes, but her mind was sharp. The primary reactor is at 60%. I can push it to 80 within 4 hours. Full power would take at least 12. We may not have 12 hours. Daniel transferred the sensor data to her screen. Count them. Maria studied the approaching fleet. Her face went pale. 12 capital ships, at least 40 support craft. That's not a patrol or an escort. That's an invasion force. Dominion markings, Daniel confirmed. They're not waiting for the Council to decide. They're coming to take us. Daniel opened a communication channel to Harmony Prime. The signal would take time to arrive, and longer still for any response to return. By then, the fleet would already be in orbit. He also sent an emergency message to Commander Grant's secure device. Then he began waking the crew. The cryogenic revival process was designed to be slow and careful. Rushing it risked brain damage, organ failure, and death. But Daniel had no choice. He modified the protocols to accelerate revival while minimizing the worst dangers. Across the ship, pods opened and crew members emerged. Some were confused, some were sick. All were afraid when they learned what was coming. Security Chief Cole took charge of organizing the awakened personnel. He assigned teams to defensive positions throughout the ship. He distributed weapons from the armory. He prepared for the possibility that they would board the Defiance. In engineering, Maria pushed the reactors harder than they were designed to go. Warning lights flashed on her console. She ignored them. If the engines failed, they would all die anyway. If she could squeeze out a little more power, they might have a chance. Doctor set up emergency medical stations in 3 locations. He knew there would be casualties. He prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. The fighter pilots were awakened last. 200 men and women who had trained for years to fly combat spacecraft. Their ships were old by galactic standards, designed 6 centuries ago for threats that no longer existed. But the pilots themselves were eager. After days of helplessness, finally they could do something. Lieutenant Sarah Mills was the senior pilot. She gathered her squadrons in the hangar bay and explained the situation. They are coming to take our ship. They outnumber us badly. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Our shields are weak, our weapons are primitive, and our ships are slow. She paused and looked at the faces around her. But we are human, and humans do not surrender. A murmur of agreement rippled through the pilots. Our job is to protect the Defiance. We hit their big ships, draw their fire, create openings for our main guns. Some of us will not survive. Accept that now. Sarah's voice was steady. But every minute we fight is a minute the commander has to find another way. Every ship we destroy is one less ship attacking our home. Every pilot who falls buys time for 3,000 people who are counting on us. The pilots began preparing their craft. On Harmony Prime, Commander Lisa Grant received Daniel's message. She read it 3 times to make sure she understood. Then she ran. The guards assigned to watch her tried to stop her. She pushed past them without slowing down. An alarm began to sound. More security personnel moved to intercept her. Lisa found High Counselor in a private meeting room with several other council members. She burst through the door without invitation. "They are attacking my ship," she announced. "Right now, a fleet of 12 capital ships is approaching 9. Rose from her seat. Her silver face showed shock. "That is impossible. Warlord would not dare violate council space." "He is daring. My crew detected them on long-range sensors. They will arrive within hours." Lisa stepped closer to the counselor. "You need to send help. My ship cannot fight an entire fleet alone." The council members looked at each other. Lisa saw fear in their eyes, but also hesitation. "If we send warships to confront it could start a larger conflict," said a representative. "Millions could die." "If you do nothing, 3,000 humans will die today," Lisa replied. "Is that acceptable to you?" Was quiet for a long moment. Then she turned to her aides. "Contact the nearest council defense fleet. Tell them to proceed to 9 at maximum speed." She looked at Lisa. "They may not arrive in time. The nearest force is hours away." "Then I need to return to my ship." Lisa was already moving toward the door. "My people need me." Commander Grant's voice stopped her. "Even if you reach your vessel, what can you do? Your ship is damaged. Your crew is just awakening. They will overwhelm you." Lisa turned back to face the alien counselor. "I can fight. I can buy time. And maybe, if we hurt them badly enough, they will decide we are not worth the trouble." Studied her for a long moment. Something changed in her silver eyes. It might have been respect. "Go," she said, "and may fortune favor you." Lisa ran through the corridors of Harmony Prime. A shuttle was waiting to take her back to 9. She pushed the pilot to fly faster than safety allowed. Every minute mattered now. As the shuttle raced through space, Lisa watched the stars and thought about her crew. Daniel was good, but he was not a commander. Maria could keep the engines running, but she could not make tactical decisions. Knew how to fight, but not how to lead a ship in battle. They needed her, and she would not let them down. The shuttle dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Lisa could see the fleet on the sensors, now much closer to the moon. She could also see the Defiance, its running lights glowing as Maria pushed the reactors toward combat readiness. "Take me home," Lisa ordered the pilot. The shuttle accelerated toward the ancient human vessel, toward battle, toward whatever came next. Lisa Grant was ready to fight for her people. Commander Lisa Grant reached the Defiance with 30 minutes to spare. She stepped onto her bridge and felt the ship welcome her home. Her crew looked at her with relief and hope. She gave them confidence in return. "Report," she ordered. Daniel stood at the tactical station. 12 capital ships, 43 support vessels. They will be in weapons range in 28 minutes. Our main reactor is at 82%. Point defense is online. Main batteries are charged." He paused. "Fighter squadrons are ready to launch on your command." Lisa took her seat in the commander's chair. The worn leather felt familiar under her hands. She had sat here 1,000 times during training exercises and simulations. Now she would sit here for her first real battle. "Open a channel to the fleet." The communication officer worked his console. "Channel open, Commander." "Vessels, this is Commander Lisa Grant of the USS Defiance. You are approaching a ship under the protection of the Galactic Council. Turn back now, or we will defend ourselves." Static hissed for several seconds. Then a voice replied, cold and amused. "Commander Grant, I am Warlord. I have watched your performance at the Council with great interest. You speak well for a primitive species." The voice hardened. "But words cannot protect you now. Surrender your vessel and your crew will be treated well. Resist, and you will be destroyed." Lisa looked at her bridge crew. She saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. These were good people. They deserved a commander who would fight for them. "Warlord," she said calmly, "I have a counter-offer. Turn your fleet around and go home. If you attack us, we will hurt you. We will hurt you badly. And then the Council fleet will arrive and finish what we started. You will lose ships. You will lose soldiers. You will lose face before the entire galaxy. Is one ancient human vessel worth all of that?" Laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "You threaten me with your antique weapons and your sleeping crew. I have crushed enemies 100 times more powerful than you. Your ship will make a fine trophy." "Then come and take it," Lisa said, "if you can." She cut the communication channel and turned to her crew. "All hands battle stations. Launch fighters. Bring all weapons to full readiness." She gripped the arms of her chair. "Today we show the galaxy what humans can do." The Defiance came alive with activity. 200 fighters launched from the hangar bays, spreading out in defensive formations. The main batteries tracked the approaching enemy ships. The point defense systems activated, ready to intercept incoming fire. Warlord ordered his fleet to attack. The first volley of energy weapons struck the Defiance like a storm of fire. Shields that would have protected any modern ship simply did not exist on the ancient human vessel. The energy beams hit the hull directly. And the hull held. 3 meters of armor, layered with materials designed to absorb and distribute damage. The weapons burned and the surface but could not penetrate. Inside the ship, the crew felt the impacts like distant thunder. "Return fire," Lisa ordered. The Defiance's main batteries spoke. Kinetic rounds accelerated to incredible speeds, chunks of metal moving so fast they became weapons of devastating power. The rounds punched through shields designed to stop energy, not matter. They tore through hull plating. They destroyed critical systems. 3 ships died in the opening exchange. Stared at his tactical display in disbelief. 3 capital ships, destroyed in seconds by weapons he had considered obsolete. The human vessel was supposed to be easy prey. Instead, it was a monster. "All ships disperse and engage at range," he commanded. "Do not let them concentrate fire." The fleet spread out, circling the Defiance like predators around wounded prey. They fired from multiple angles, testing the human ship's defenses. The thick armor continued to hold, but damage accumulated. Systems began to fail. Fires broke out in several sections. Lisa watched her ship take punishment and made her decision. Launch all fighters, attack their capital ships, draw their fire. Lieutenant Sarah Mills led her squadron toward the nearest vessel. Her fighter was small and fast, but it had almost no protection. One direct hit would destroy her. She did not care. All units target their weapon systems, make them bleed. The human fighters swarmed over the capital ships. They were gnats attacking giants, but gnats with stingers. They fired missiles and energy weapons at close range, too close for the point defense to track effectively. They dodged return fire with skill born from endless training. They died. One by one, the human fighters fell. Sarah watched her squadron shrink as friends and colleagues were destroyed around her. But for every fighter lost, a ship took damage. Weapon systems went offline. Engines failed. Shields weakened. The Defiance exploited every opening. Its main batteries focused on damaged ships, finishing what the fighters started. 2 more capital ships exploded. A third lost power and drifted helplessly. On his flagship felt something he had not experienced in decades: doubt. The humans were fighting like nothing he had ever seen. They threw themselves at his ships without hesitation. They accepted losses that would break any other species. They refused to surrender even when the situation seemed hopeless. For the first time, he understood why the galaxy had feared humanity so much. Warlord, his tactical officer, reported. Council reinforcements have entered the system. They will arrive in 40 minutes. Looked at his battered fleet. 6 capital ships remained combat effective. The others were damaged or destroyed. His fighters had suffered terrible losses trying to protect the larger vessels from human attacks. He had underestimated the humans. He had believed the old stories were exaggeration. Now he knew they were truth. All ships withdraw, he ordered. The words tasted like poison in his mouth. The fleet turned and retreated. His flagship was the last to go, its engines damaged by a final salvo from the Defiance's guns. On the bridge of the human ship, Lisa Grant watched the enemy flee. She allowed herself one moment of relief before returning to duty. Damage report. The news was not good. The Defiance had suffered heavy damage. 17 crew members were dead. 43 were wounded. Many systems were offline. The ship would need months of repair. But they had survived. The fighter squadrons returned to the hangar bays. Of 200 pilots who had launched, 119 came back. 81 had given their lives to protect the ship. Lisa would remember every name. The Council fleet arrived to find the battle already won. They escorted the damaged Defiance to a safe location and began providing assistance. Medical teams helped doctor treat the wounded. Engineering crews helped Maria Santos stabilize the damaged systems. High Counselor came aboard personally to speak with Commander Grant. You defeated she said. There was wonder in her voice. A single damaged ship against an entire fleet. The galaxy has not seen such a battle in centuries. Lisa was too tired to feel proud. We lost 81 pilots, good people who died because a warlord wanted our technology. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten. Placed her thin hand on Lisa's arm. The Council has reached a decision regarding your people. Lisa tensed, waiting for judgment. You will be granted citizenship in the galactic community. A world will be provided for your colony. You will be free to build new lives among the stars. Paused. In return, we ask only that you share your knowledge, your engineering, your tactics, and if threats arise that peaceful species cannot handle alone, we may call upon you to remember your old ways. Lisa thought about what this meant. The galaxy wanted humans to be warriors again, to fight the battles that others could not or would not fight. It was not freedom, not entirely. There would be a price for their survival. But her people would live. They would have a home. They would have a future. I accept, she said. 3 months later, the Defiance made its final journey. The ancient ship was too damaged to repair fully, and Lisa decided it should become a memorial rather than return to service. It was placed in orbit around the new human colony world, a reminder of where they came from and what they had survived. Lisa stood on the surface of her new home and watched the Defiance pass overhead. The stars were different here. The air smelled strange. Everything was unfamiliar. But humans were good at making unfamiliar places into homes. They had done it countless times throughout history. They would do it again. Behind her, 3,000 colonists worked to build their first settlement. Scientists and engineers and farmers and doctors, all starting over in a galaxy that had once wanted them dead. The future was uncertain. The galaxy still feared them. Old enemies still plotted against them. New challenges would arise. But humanity had survived worse. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars. They had survived 600 years buried in ice. They had survived a battle that should have destroyed them. They would survive whatever came next. Because that was what humans did. They endured, they adapted, they never gave up. And sometimes, when the universe pushed them hard enough, they pushed back. The galaxy was learning to live with humanity again. Lisa Grant intended to make sure they never forgot why.